Hi, Verbling. My name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. And today we're talking about the TOEFL exam. And we'll be doing some practice exercises. If you guys have any questions or comments on the class today, you can let me know on my Verbling message box or on Facebook. And I'll put my Facebook name in the chat box for you. Joseph, welcome to class.
Hi, Michaela. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine.
Have you taken any exams in English before, or do you intend to take any in the future?
Actually, I take I take 12, but that's so difficult. I didn't study anything.
You took one in the past?
Yes, yes.
Ah, but you didn't study.
No, and I didn't study too much.
Ah, I
Study,
see.
but I think it was a waste of my effort.
Definitely. Your score always reflects how much effort you put in.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So, why do you want to take the TOEFL or the TOEFL?
Mm,
For
to
school, for work, or just to know where you are in your English level?
Yes, for my English certification to get a better job,
Mm.
to
Awesome.
yes, I would like to travel abroad also. For many things, I think it's very helpful to take this exam.
Great. Okay. And what was your experience like? Did you find it a stressful exam? And how did you prepare for it?
Well, uh, with internet, I only did some practice with internet.
Okay.
Uh, I didn't study a course or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We typed all kind of question of the top exam, and I was reviewing that, and I think it wasn't enough.
All right. So today, to start class, we're going to read the first few tips on a test taking suggestion document. And after we read those, we're going to go on to a practice reading section. So we'll read a text and then answer questions. And it was actually a previous TOEFL exam test. So this is from one of the actual tests they gave a few years ago. So let's get started. I'll screen share for anybody who needs it. We're talking about these standardized test taking tips. They're good for almost any test you might want to take, not just the TOEFL, but the IELTS, the TOEIC, or even any test in any other language. These are always good to follow. Joseph, can you read number 1 for us?
Okay, uh, arrive early and take a moment to relax and reduce your anxiety. This brief time period will boost your confidence and give you time to think of positive thoughts and focus your mind.
Thank you. Joseph, do you get stressed when you have to take an important test like the TOEFL?
Actually, that times I was very stressed because I didn't understand a lot. When you don't study, you are very stressed. But when you are confident that you study a lot, I think you feel relaxed. Yeah.
True. It's definitely helpful to feel confident and prepared.
Yes.
All
But
right.
when you did something and you didn't study, for for every experience that you can have. You are well
Mhm.
prepared. You're gonna feel more confidence, and you're gonna get nervous at the exam.
Definitely. Definitely. Good advice. Can you read tip number 2?
Listen uh, attentively, attentively to last-minute instructions given by the instructor. The teacher will almost always give you some valuable information just before handing out the test. Don't miss them because your anxiety causes cause you to talk to a classmate.
Mhm. Do you have any vocabulary questions from these tips so far?
Vocabulary,
Yeah,
anxiety,
like attentively, anxiety.
maybe anxiety. The pronunciation I'm doing right.
Yeah, it's anxiety. It's pronounced like a Z, even though it's spelled with an X.
Okay, anxiety.
Uh
Okay.
huh. Any other questions?
No, I think no.
All right, read number 3 then.
Read the directions
Sorry.
very carefully, looking for specific instructions on how to proceed. Watch for details. You might find that more than one answer may be possible on multiple choice, or that you only need to answer 3 out of the 5 easy questions given.
Thank you very much. Obviously, instructions are important. Read number 4.
A plan how you will use the time for the test. Estimate how many minutes you will need to finish each test section and finishing the total time allotted allotted allotted. I don't know the pronunciation.
Allotted?
Allotted. Bring your watch and pay close attention to passing time. Follow your own pace and do not let paths of others cause you to become nervous. Be confident in your plan for completing that test on time.
Excellent. Any questions from that one?
Mm, Praise mm, it's, it, it's not necessary to bring your your watch. In this test, you have watch on the computer.
Yeah, that's true. If you're taking the online based version of the TOEFL test, you will have plenty of access to a computer clock, which is helpful. Have
Yeah.
you ever considered taking the paper based test?
No. How can I do to take that? I only went to the site, to this website of ETS, and he only had, I remember, the ETS, the IBT format.
It depends on where you live, actually. Some places offer the paper based test, and some places offer the internet based test. So, if you do a little research, you could find a location near you that offers the paper based test. The only problem is that sometimes the nearest place is 2 hours away or across a border or something, so it's not always convenient. But for people who prefer the paper based to the computer based, it might be worth it.
The computer is so stressful.
Mhm.
You see the monitor and you can say
Mhm.
your answer. You can ask for money for. You can't ask for any question if you have something that you don't understand. Uh,
Yeah, that is difficult.
yeah,
Stressful. Also, some people prefer to take the speaking test with an actual person instead of speaking into a microphone. Which do you think would be preferable?
I think it would be better for me to take this exam with one person because
So,
I
why would you prefer talking to a person instead of talking into a microphone?
because I think it's more
Mhm.
natural. And you can always ask this person for something you didn't understand in the question. It would be
Mhm.
it would be better because this person can explain you the question, and it also gives you more time to think about the question.
Yeah, it could. All right. So there are a lot more tips on this sheet and guidelines for answering multiple choice questions as well, like advice on techniques to best answer and guidelines for answering true and false questions and matching questions. So this is a lot of test strategy on this document, which we're not going to go over extensively today because anybody out there, you can read this on your own as well. So we read a few of the best tips, but we'll probably save the rest for another time. Fidel, welcome to class.
Morning, teacher.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. So, Fidel, have you taken the TOEFL in the past, or do you intend to take the TOEFL in the future?
In the future, in the
All
future,
right.
yes, because I actually I have the one of the books that people use to prepare the this test, and
Mm-hmm.
in an job interview that I had, they told me that every one to want to apply have to uh, I mean to have English classes, but all of us, I mean the applicants speak English, but they don't have enough time to test our English. But
Mm-hmm.
giving them a score of TOEFL score, they had an idea how better is our English.
Excellent. Very great. So you're preparing for that?
Mm, I am not certain because I think that the material is a little difficult. So I prefer, um, for example, to take classes for a long time here at Berlin. So when I feel more comfortable more um, secure,
Uh-huh.
so I start to prepare with the material and
All
other kind
right.
of materials.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
All right. So you guys have the document on test taking tips and answering questions in the chat box. And now we're going to switch to a practice document where we're going to practice reading a text and responding with questions. This is an actual TOEFL exam that was used a few years ago. So it will give you a good idea of the kinds of questions you'll see on an actual TOEFL exam. And I will screen share it as well. Okay, so we're going to start practicing with the reading section. And Fidel, can you read the directions for us?
Okay. Did you mean the okay? Okay, reading section. Directions. These simple questions in the reading section measure your ability to understand academic passage in English. You will read one passage and answer questions about it. In a real test, you will have 20 minutes to read the passage and answer the question. Candidates with disabilities may request a time extension.
Thank you very much. So today we're not going to use the actual time limit that would be true on the test. Usually you would have 20 minutes to read everything and answer the questions. And that's not very. Today we're going to take it a little slower. We're going to read the passage together, talk about some of the vocabulary words, and then eventually answer the questions together also, and take as much time as we need to do that. Okay, let's begin. First paragraph. Joseph, can you read?
Okay. Meteorite impact and dinosaur extinction. There's an increasing evidence that the impacts of meteorites have had important effects on Earth, particularly in the field of bio, bio, biology, biology, no,
Biological.
biological evolution. Such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard to life on Earth. Twice in the twentieth century, large meteorite objects are known to have collided with Earth.
Thank you very much. So, as you can see, this text is very academic and has a lot of vocabulary words that might be difficult. It's pretty typical of the TOEFL exam to include text that's very academic with high-level vocabulary. So, we're going to have to read carefully. Do you guys have any questions from the first paragraph?
No.
Okay. Fidel, will you read paragraph number 2?
Okay. If an impact is large enough, it can disturb the environment of the entire Earth and cause an ecological catastrophe. The best documented such impact took place 65 million years ago at the end of the Cretaceous period of geological history. This break in Earth history is marked by a mass extinction, when as many as half the species on the planet became extinct. While there are a dozen or more mass extinctions in the geological record, the Cretaceous mass extinction has always intrigued paleontologists because it marks the end of the age of the dinosaurs. For tens of millions of years, those great creatures had flourished. Then, suddenly, they disappeared.
Thank you very much. And this word here is paleontologist. It's a long one. Paleontologist. But your pronunciation was pretty good.
Okay.
Any questions from paragraph number 2?
I have a
Paleontologist.
question, Michael, about pronunciation.
Yeah.
Uh, when you have the TS at the end, you have to pronounce the T and the S, or only the S, or both.
Yeah, both. So this is paleontologists. So we
Paleontologist.
pronounce both the T and the final S. Paleontologists.
Paleontologists.
Yeah. It's kind of funny looking and funny sounding because we have STS, and by itself that's tough. Kind of
Paleontologist.
a weird sound, but we do usually pronounce all of those consonants.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Michael.
No problem. Any other questions before we move on? I'm going to read the next paragraph. The body that impacted Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period was a meteorite with a mass of more than 1 trillion tons and a diameter of at least 10 kilometers. Scientists first identified this impact in 1980 from the worldwide layer of sediment deposited from the dust cloud that enveloped the planet after the impact. This sediment layer is enriched in the rare metal iridium and other elements that are relatively abundant in a meteorite but very rare in the crust of the Earth. Even diluted by the terrestrial material excavated from the crater, this component of meteorites is easily identified. By 1990, geologists had located the impact site itself in the Yucatan region of Mexico. The crater, now deeply buried in sediment, was originally 200 kilometers in diameter. All right. Fidel, can you read the next one?
The next paragraph? Okay. This impact released an enormous amount of energy, excavating a crater about twice as large as the lunar crater Tycho. The explosion left about 100 trillion tons of dust into the atmosphere, as can be determined by measuring the thickness of the sediment layer formed when this dust settled to the surface. Such a quantity of material would have blocked the sunlight completely from reaching the surface, plunging Earth into a period of cold and darkness that lasted at least several months. The explosion is also calculated to have produced vast quantities of nitric acid and melted rock that spread out over much of Earth, starting widespread fires that must have consumed most terrestrial forest and grassland. Presumably, those environmental disasters could have been responsible for the mass extinction, including the death of the dinosaurs. Including the death of the dinosaurs.
Thank you very much. And Akka, welcome to class.
Yes, hello. How are you?
You're back for more. Excellent.
Yes. This
All
one
right.
reading.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Akka is an expert in all tests, so if anyone has questions,
No,
he's the guy to ask.
no, I'm not at all.
So we're in the middle of this reading exercise. Can you read the next paragraph, Aka?
Okay. Several other mass extinctions in the geological record have been tentatively identified with large impact, but none is so dramatic as the Cretaceous event. But even without such specific documentation, it is clear that impacts of this size do occur and that their results can be catastrophic. What is a catastrophe for one group of living things, however, may create opportunities for another group. Following each mass extinction, there is a sudden evolutionary burst as new species develop to fill the ecological niches opened by the event.
Thank you very much. And two little notes on pronunciation. This is catastrophic, and this over here is catastrophe. So the stress changes a little between
Catastrophe.
catastrophic and
Mm,
catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
Mhm.
Okay. Mhm.
All right. And next paragraph, Joseph. Can you read it?
Im- impacts impacts by meteorites represent one mechanism that could cause global catastrophes and seriously influence the evolution of life all over the planet. According to some estimates, the majority of all extinctions of species may be due to such impacts. Such a perspective fundamentally changes our view of biological evolution. The standard criterion for the survival of a species is its success in competing with other species and adapting to slowly changing environments. Yet an equally important criterion is the ability of species to survive random global ecological catastrophes due to impacts.
Thank you. And the last paragraph I'll read. Earth is a target in a cosmic shooting gallery, subject to random violent events that were unsuspected a few decades ago. In 1991, the United States Congress asked NASA to investigate the hazard posed today by large impacts on Earth. The group conducting the study concluded from a detailed analysis that impacts from meteorites can indeed be hazardous, although there is always some risk that a large impact could occur. Careful study shows that this risk is quite small. Okay, so let's get some of your thoughts immediately following this reading. How are you guys feeling? Joseph, share your feelings. Was it easy? Was it difficult?
Well, pro- pronunciation of some words was I didn't know the words, so I couldn't pronounce very well.
Yeah, no problem. In a regular reading test, pronunciation would not be a big factor. What about the vocabulary? Did you find it difficult?
Yes, some words I haven't heard
Hmm.
before.
That's
Uh,
normal. That's a pretty academic based test, so we have some advanced vocabulary here. Fidel, how are you feeling about the difficulty of this text?
Okay, thank you. As the other student said, uh, I find some such academic words, and I think to obtain a better understanding of the material is necessary, or it's better to know about um, I mean some kind of culture. I mean, read books and is actually I think the TOEFL is necessary to obtain um, the I mean the to obtain the the enter to the most of the university in the United States. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why the material is about academic issues.
Exactly. Good point. All right. Camilla, did you get a chance to hear this text or read it along with us?
Not really. I just listened to the last part you were reading, so I am a little bit unfamiliar with the topic.
Okay, well then you can take a few minutes now to read over some of the text and we'll begin answering questions, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Aka, what did you think about the difficulty of this text?
Since I read the article about this kind of metro classing environment change, so I have some background knowledge. So uh, in that sense, it's not so difficult, but some vocabulary that it's too academic. So I just guess the meaning of this.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good strategy. Just taking an educated guess on what a word is important. It's a great skill to have when you're needing to read things in English. There might be words you've never heard before, but as long as you can look at the context and make a good guess at what the word means, you'll be at a big advantage. Okay, so let's answer some questions on this text. Nope, not that one. Here we go. Number 1. The word pose on line 2 is closest in meaning to. So we can go back up and look at the word pose right here. Such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard to life on Earth. So any guesses? What is pose most similar to? Claim, model, assume, or present?
Present.
Yeah, D, present. So you could go back and replace pose with present. Such impacts continue to present a natural hazard to life on Earth. They're synonyms. Number 2, Fidel, can you read the question and the answers for us?
Okay. In paragraph 2, why does the author include the information that dinosaurs had flourished for tens of millions of years and then suddenly disappeared? A. To support the claim that the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous is the best documented of the dozen or so mass extinctions in the geological record. B. Explain why as many as half of the species on Earth at the time are believed to have become extinct at the end of the Cretaceous. C. To explain why paleontologists have always been intrigued by the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous. D. to provide evidence that an impact can be large enough to disturb the environment of the entire planet and cause an ecological disaster.
Thank you very much. So these are very difficult. They require a lot of knowledge about the passage and the vocabulary, and they can be really confusing. So let's start by eliminating some answers we know are not true. Joseph, which of these do you know is not the answer? Any guesses, Joseph? What is not the answer here? Just give us one. There's one right answer, but 3 wrong answers. So give us one you think is not the right answer.
Teacher,
Oh,
excuse me.
sorry. I think I said Joseph, but yeah.
Joseph isn't here anymore.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I said Joseph. I don't know why. I was thinking Fidel.
Okay, so?
So, Fidel, can you tell us which of these, A, B, C, or D, is definitely not the right answer?
Mm, C?
Which one?
Letter C?
And why do you think that's not the right answer?
It's really difficult.
Yeah, it is. So maybe let's go back and read paragraph 2 again to help us a little here.
Okay.
If an impact is large enough, it can disturb the environment of the entire Earth and cause an ecological catastrophe. The best documented such impact took place 65 million years ago, at the end of the Cretaceous period of geological history. This break in Earth's history is marked by a mass extinction when as many as half the species on the planet became extinct. While there are a dozen or more mass extinctions in geological record, the Cretaceous mass extinction has always intrigued paleontologists. It marks the end of the age of dinosaurs. For tens of millions of years, those great apes had flourished, then suddenly they disappeared. So, do you guys have any guesses which is not the correct answer? Aka, what do you think? Any idea which one is definitely not the correct answer?
It's difficult. Probably B, I'm not sure.
Okay, we have eliminated B. B is definitely not the correct answer. And how did you know that, Aka?
For my intuition.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to go with your gut feeling. And you're right, it's not B. What other answers can we eliminate? Let's look at A. A says to support the claim that the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period is the best documented of the dozen or so mass extinctions. So did they say something about it being the best documented?
It's not documented. It's in the geographical pattern or something. But the best documented such impact took place.
It does say it's the best documented. So, did they mention it because it's the best documented? Let's see. So in number 2, why do they tell us that dinosaurs flourished for tens of millions of years and then suddenly disappeared? Is it to support the idea that it's the best documented?
No.
No, it's not. So it is the best documented, but both of those facts are supporting something else. So it's not A and it's not B. Let's look at D. To provide evidence that an impact can be large enough to disturb the environment of the entire planet and cause an ecological disaster. Okay, so in paragraph 2, if an impact is large enough, it can disturb the environment of Earth and cause an ecological catastrophe. Documented such impact took place 65 million years ago. So they give us this as a fact. They say it is true. We know this already. And we have lots of documented cases, but the best documented is this one, right? So do they tell us about this very well documented case to prove that there are impacts that can be large enough to disturb the environment?
No.
No, good guess. It's not, because we already know that. They give that to you as a fact. They say it is true. And then they go on to talk about one of the many reasons it is true, but it's already a fact. It's not something they need to prove again. So the last one we're left with is C, which is in fact the correct answer here. To explain why paleontologists have always been intrigued by the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous.
Okay.
All right, so it's really tough, and usually the best way to go about answering these tough questions is eliminating ones you are sure are not right. And you'll usually be left with 2 that you're really close on, and you just kind of have to go with your gut.
Yeah.
All right, Aka, can you read question number 3 for us?
Okay. Which of the following can be inferred from paragraph 3 about the location of the meteorite impact in Mexico?
And read the answers for us as well.
Okay. The location of the impact site in Mexico was kept secret by geologists from 1980 to 1990. It was well-known fact that the impact had occurred in the Yucatan region. Geologists knew that there had been an impact before they knew where it had occurred. The Yucatan region was chosen by the geologists as the most probable impact site because of its climate.
Thank you. Okay, so first let's talk about the word inferred. Do you know the definition for that word, Aka?
Kind of said.
Like said, but how is it different from said?
Inferred by the proof.
Yes, right. So when we infer something, it's not explicitly stated. It's something that we can understand by reading into the facts given. So an example would be if I say that it is summer and the sky is blue, you might infer that it's a hot day because in the summer, days are usually hot, and I'm also telling you that it's not raining because the sky is blue. So you have inferred that it is hot, even though I didn't say that. So I didn't explicitly say that it was a hot day, but you can understand pretty clearly that it is. All right, so it's something that's not stated in paragraph 3, but we can infer because of the other facts. So let's read paragraph 3 again to refresh our memories. The body that impacted Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period was a meteorite with a mass of more than 1 trillion tons and a diameter of at least 10 kilometers. Scientists first identified this impact in 1980 from the worldwide layer of sediment deposited from the dust cloud that enveloped the planet after the impact. This sediment layer is enriched in the rare metal iridium and other elements that are relatively abundant in a meteorite but very rare in the crust of the Earth. Even diluted by the terrestrial material excavated from the crater, this component of meteorite is easily identified. By 1990, geologists had located the impact site itself in the Yucatan region of Mexico. The crater, now deeply buried in sediment, was originally about 200 kilometers in diameter. So, we're looking for something that is not stated but is made clear by other facts. Let's start with A. To support the claim that the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period is the best documented. Oh, sorry, that's not A. A. The location of the impact site in Mexico was kept secret by geologists from 1980 to 1990.
No.
No, we definitely cannot infer that. We have no idea because they really don't talk about whether it was public or not. So there's no way for us to know that. How about B? It was a well-known fact that the impact had occurred in the Yucatan region.
I think it is.
Okay, so that's a possibility. We'll leave that in as a possibility. Let's read the others and see where we go. C. Geologists knew that there had been an impact before they knew where it had occurred.
No.
Why not?
It had occurred means that it before the meteor crash.
So we have two tenses. We're using, we've got had been an impact before they knew where it had occurred, right? So we have a timeline here.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that there had been an impact first, and then they found out later where it had occurred. So is that true about the paragraph?
I think so. It's true because they found some kind of material that it's more common part of the meteorite.
Yeah. So from paragraph number 3, they first say that it was identified that there's a worldwide layer of sediment deposited from the dust cloud that contained iridium. So they knew that there had been some kind of meteoric impact. And then later, in 1990, they located the impact site in the Yucatan. So that's still a possibility. Let's look at the answers again. So we definitely ruled out A. That's definitely not true. We left in B and C. Let's look at D. The Yucatan region was chosen by geologists as the most probable impact site because of its climate.
No.
No. We can't infer that because they didn't say anything about the climate at all. So that would be something that is impossible to know from this paragraph. Okay, so we left B and C in. B, it was a well-known fact that the impact had occurred in the Yucatan region. Geologists knew that there had been an impact before they knew where it had occurred. Anyone willing to take a guess as to which is the best answer here?
I choose B. I would choose B.
Me too.
Why?
Because C sounds a bit strange. Before the meteor crash happened, they know the impact, and well-known fact that impact had occurred in the Yucatan region. Probably. I'm not sure exact part. I don't remember the exact part, but
Okay, so in B it says
likely.
it was a well-known fact that the impact had occurred in the Yucatan region. When? When are they talking about? When is it a well-known fact?
Because maybe the special material from the meteor was found at that region, so probably that's the reason.
Okay, so it's a well-known fact now?
Now,
Well, it
Yes.
says it was a well-known fact, but it's difficult because it doesn't say when it was a well-known fact. Was it a well-known fact in 1795?
No.
No, it wasn't. So that one is suspicious because it doesn't say in 1990 or in 1980. It doesn't specify because in the beginning they don't know where the impact was. And then at the end of the paragraph they say, but eventually they figured out the impact was in the Yucatan region. So for B, it says it was a well-known fact, but doesn't say when it was a well-known fact. It hasn't
Okay.
always been a well-known fact.
It,
So
I
C is the
understand.
best answer. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
So the letter B maybe it couldn't be because they don't know before where was the impact, where had the
Yeah, B is a trick, right? There's always like two answers that seem like they're good, but B is a trick because it is true, but it doesn't say when. Because
yeah,
if B is talking about 1990, maybe we could say that it's true. But it doesn't say if it's talking about 1980, 1990, 1335. It doesn't say what year it's talking about.
okay, because the paragraph says that the geologist had located the impact site, but in 1990s. So, and the question don't mention the date.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, so it's kind of a trick. It doesn't say
okay,
when.
Geologists knew there had been an impact for the dinosaur extinct, certain dinosaur extinct, so they knew they knew there had been an impact, but they couldn't identify where it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
All right. Number 4. We might have time to finish one more before we finish up here. Fidel, can you read this one for us?
okay. According to paragraph 3, how did scientists determine that a large meteorite had impacted Earth? A. They discovered a large crater in the Yucatan region of Mexico. B. They found a unique layer of sediment worldwide. C. They were alerted by archaeologists who had been excavating in the Yucatan region. D. They located a meteorite with a mass of over a trillion tons.
Okay, so which one is definitely not the answer?
C.
C. They were alerted by archaeologists who had been excavating in the Yucatan Peninsula. Right, that's definitely not the answer because first they knew, like in the last one, we said first they knew that there had been an impact and then they only found out later where it was. So C cannot be the right answer. What else cannot be the right answer?
Maybe they located a material D with a mass of over trillion tons.
Yeah, did they do that? Did they locate a meteorite?
No.
No.
Exactly. There is no meteorite. They know that it once existed, but they don't actually have it. So D is not the right answer. And what's the last one that is definitely not the right answer?
B.
Why is that?
Because they don't found this sediment.
Okay. Well, let's look. And A, we're looking at B and A. They discovered a large crater in the Yucatan region of Mexico. They found a unique layer of sediment. So we're looking to prove how they determined the meteorite had impacted Earth. So let's go back and look at paragraph 3. The body that impacted Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period was a meteorite with a mass of more than trillion tons with a diameter of at least 10 kilometers. Scientists first identified this impact in 1980 from the worldwide layer of sediment deposited from the dust cloud that enveloped the planet after the impact. The sediment layer is enriched in the rare metal iridium and other elements that are relatively abundant in the meteorite, but very rare in the Earth's crust. So, going back to number 3, what do you guys predict here? Is it A, the location of the impact site was the first thing that they knew, or was it the
Number 4.
Oh yeah, sorry, number 4. Was it they discovered a large crater in the Yucatan, or they found a unique layer of sediment? A or B?
They found a unique layer of sediment worldwide.
Yes, they found a unique layer of sediment. So going back to reread that paragraph was really helpful for us in number 4. And sometimes that will happen. You'll have to read the whole text once and then go back and read specific parts several times, which is why a time crunch happens, because all that reading can certainly eat up a lot of your time. You guys can finish the rest of this reading by yourself. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, and I'll try to help you with it. It's really difficult. It's a pretty difficult test, but it's accurate in its description of what the test is really like. So, next class, we're going to be looking at a couple other examples of test parts of the TOEFL, and I'll see you guys another time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.